We're almost a third of the way through the NBA season now. And this feels like the perfect checkpoint to sit back, look at the league as a whole, and really figure out who have been the 10 best teams in the NBA so far. And just so we're completely on the same page before we get into this, the criteria that I'm using is simple. We're judging teams in a vacuum. Nothing from last season matters. It's purely about how good they have been this season with what they've shown us on the floor right now. So, coming in at number 10, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. And honestly, this spot was tougher than it looks. I almost went with the Suns after that ridiculous comeback over Minnesota. But when you zoom out and look at talent depth and where each team is trending, the Timberwolves still deserve the edge. Anthony Edwards alone makes it really difficult to leave them off the list. He's taken another step forward as a ball handler, way more control, way more burst and speed without losing momentum, and his scoring uptick reflects that. He's averaging 25 points per game on 59% true shooting for the season. But over the last 7 games in particular, he's gone nuclear, putting up 34.4 points, shooting 49% from 3 and sitting at 69% true shooting. That is unreal production. The frustrating part is that Minnesota have once again stumbled their way through the early part of a season. But when you look at the underlying metrics, things actually look pretty solid. They have the 7th best net rating in basketball at a plus 6.1, the 7th best offensive rating at 120 points per 100 possessions, and the 10th best defense, holding opponents to just 114 points per 100. The issue isn't performance, it's resume. They have not beaten anybody good. Their best win of the season probably was over the Celtics. And I mean, that's a Boston team that's not going to have Jason Tatum for pretty much the entire year. Not exactly a statement win. Still, I'm going to be giving them the benefit of the doubt because this is almost identical to how they opened the season just a year ago. They were in positions to win games, kept choking late, everyone bailed on this team, and then they quietly corrected everything in the latter half of the regular season and made a run to the Western Conference Finals. This team feels like it could be on the same path. The talent is too good. Edwards is explosive. Guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Jaden McDaniels, and Naz Reid give them a really strong foundation. And the numbers are just way too strong for me to not have them in the top 10. So for now, they land at number 10. In at number 9, I've got the Orlando Magic, a team that pretty much everybody wrote off after they started the season with a 1-4 record. The offense looked rough, even the defense looked disjointed, and Paolo Banchero was playing some of the worst basketball of his career. It genuinely looked like they were headed for disappointment. But once Paolo went down with injury, something clicked. Orlando suddenly found an identity once again, ripping off a run that took them from 1-4 to 14-9, with real wins against New York, Philadelphia, Denver, and Miami. Franz Wagner and Desmond Bane have begun to look like themselves again, and Anthony Black has been one of the quiet revelations of the season. Anytime he's in the game, Orlando just functions better offensively. But in their recent game against New York, they received a gut punch as Franz Wagner went down with a leg injury that didn't look very promising. It looked pretty bad live. And at the time of recording this, we still don't know whether it was just a bone bruise or something far more serious. In the short term, that's going to be hanging over this team in a big way. But there's also been a weird conversation floating around the Magic that they would get worse with Paolo Banchero back. And yeah, his first couple games back have been pretty slow. But long term, they simply cannot reach their potential without him. If he can cut out the long contested mid-range jumpers, those possession-killing shots, and leans into more paint touches, where he can draw fouls and collapse a defense, that is going to be exactly what Orlando needs from him. His playmaking is also still super underrated as he can legitimately run the point when needed. Combine all of that with the fact that they have the 7th best defense in the NBA, holding opponents to 113.2 points per 100 possessions. And Orlando becomes a legitimately tough team when they're all healthy. They have earned this number 9 spot. And if they can get Franz Wagner back and that injury hopefully isn't too serious, then they might continue to rise. At number 8, I've got the Boston Celtics. And honestly, nobody expected them to look this good this season. Yet, here we are with the 6th best net rating in the NBA at 6.1 and the 4th best offense at 122.3 points per 100 possessions. All without being fully healthy. The biggest reason why is, of course, Jaylen Brown. He's been playing like a real first option over the last 9 games, averaging 32 points, 7.7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1.8 steals per game on 57% true shooting. That is superstar production, and it's completely changed the ceiling. Early on, Derek White and Peyton Pritchard were both nothing short of terrible, but they've bounced back in a massive way, and that alone has made their offense feel a lot more reliable. But the defense is still a problem area. They rank 17th in the league for defense, giving up 116.2 points per 100 possessions. And the splits with Kristaps Porzingis in the game are borderline shocking. With Porzingis on the floor, Boston's defensive rating is at a 108.3, which is elite. But when he's off, that jumps up to a 122.8 defensive rating, a massive 14.5 point swing. And while Porzingis has been good, that number says a lot more about the rest of the big man rotation than anything else. Boston's big man rotation has been Luke Kornet, Xavier Tillman, and the rookie Amari Williams. I mean, that is about as thin as you'll see from any team in basketball. That's the clear area holding Boston back. If they can make a trade for even one competent big, everything could change about the team, especially with the possibility of Jason Tatum returning this season. Given the expectations, the injuries, and how rough parts of their rotation have looked, this Celtics team being strong offensively is a massive accomplishment. In my estimation, they're absolutely a top 10 team right now. And with a move and the return of JT, they could shoot even higher. Now in at number 7, I've got the San Antonio Spurs. And the start of the season with Wemby was everything the hype promised. With Victor Wembanyama on the floor early, the Spurs looked faster, bigger, smarter, and like a team that's taken a massive step forward. But then he went down with the calf injury, and you'd assume that the whole thing would collapse without him. Instead, they've gone 7-3, and most of that run came without Stephon Castle as well. That alone shows you how different this group is compared to a season ago. They finally have real, trusted rotational pieces alongside of the young core. De'Aaron Fox has been massive in Victor's absence, basically returning to all-star production. He's averaging 26.8 points, 6.8 assists, and 1.5 steals on 62% true shooting over the last 10 games. Exactly the kind of stabilizing force the team needed in Wemby's absence. However, once Wemby is back, which he should be pretty soon, the question becomes how quickly can they reconnect the group together? If Fox and Wemby hit all-star levels at the same time, San Antonio will jump even higher than 7, because defensively, this team looks imposing, especially when Victor is anchoring the floor. And for the first time in years, the offense is actually holding up as well. Yes, they do have stretches where things can bog down a bit, but they finally have enough shot creation and structure to do a pretty fine job at consistently putting points on the board. The most exciting part about this team is just how far ahead of schedule they appear to be. This is the version of the Spurs people thought we'd see in 2 to 3 years. Not right now. And with Wemby returning very soon, I'm afraid that they're only just getting started. Now, coming in at number 6, I have the LA Lakers. And this has been the most entertaining version of the Lakers we've seen in years. Luka Doncic is playing with a level of fire that feels like a full-blown revenge tour, averaging 35.3 points, 8.9 rebounds, and 8.9 assists on 63% true shooting. Absolutely dominant and definitely in the running for MVP.